So I guess we'll kind of go ahead and get started and kind of ignore some of the mess. This is kind of like a mobile setup, so I've got boxes and stuff all over the place. So what you're looking at is my rack, and the whole point of the rack is so that I can be mobile and do my job where I'm, because I'm not not in a 100% stationary place. So I have battery backups and stuff like that, and a computer once GPUs come back in stock. I've only been looking for a GPU for a year. Let's see. So I have the rack here, and the idea of the rack is to have all my networking and computer hardware and stuff here in a flaming dumpster, which is hilarious. Non-rackable items up here, and everything's pretty much where I need it to be, but I'm getting ready to change positions, and I need to be able to have a drawer. And because this is, look, it's pretty long. This is it's a 28-inch rack. So from here all the way to there is about 28 inches. So the issue is that I need to have a drawer mounted on the reverse side, and this is the drawer that I'm looking at, and you can see here that it's 15 to 15 and a quarter inches. All right. Now the other issue that I've come into looking at is to put the front lid on here. These would have to be unplugged, so these aren't really that big of an issue. But I want to keep as many connections connected as possible. That way I don't have to take connections out, put connections in, whenever it's just really, really quick to worry about anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this stuff out. I'm going to put rails back here and recess mount all the networking hardware, so I don't have to worry about undoing these connections and stuff like that. And there'll be other connections. I'm actually going to make a patch panel particularly for any of the PoE connections, but like leave some space for some inboard networking stuff. But both of these things are outboard gear here. But the issue that I'm running into is that because this drawer here has a 15 and a quarter inch depth to it, that if I walk around to the other side, and see, I kind of have things, let's see, you can see here that I have it marked off like where the drawer is going to go. So if I get a 5U drawer, it's going to come all the way down to here, right? Well, 15 inches, or 15 and a quarter inches, there it is. So you can see that if I stick this in here and I go right to 15 and a quarter inches, well, it's going to impact the power cable there. It's also going to impact this, so this is not going to be a good solution going forward. Now the other problem is that, well, this hardware here is going to be moved back, and it's going to be moved back a couple inches, right? So what I really need is like 17 and a quarter inches, right? So that's going to put me right about, let's see, right about there, right? Well, that brings me right to the back of that, right? So it's going to, essentially what I would have is I would have the drawer, and it would be smacked right up against the back of this UDM Pro here. So the other thing is that I'm finding that the power that I have selected is not significant enough to power everything for as long as I want. So there are, you can see here that there's expansion units, and please ignore all the cable networking or the cable management. That is a thing that's going to happen in the near future. So right now I've just kind of got it just rigged up to where everything works, and I'll come back in with another kind of addition of stuff, and I'll do all the cable management. But right now we're kind of working out the bugs. So, or not expansion port, but here. So this is what we're looking at. So this is a port where you can plug in an extension. So this extension here, what I need to do is bring this up to U. And for those of you who don't know, 1U is 3 of these holes here. So you can see that there's a mark here, and there's a mark here, right? So that is 1U of space. So 2 U's is that, right? So this is a 2U unit. So this thing's going to come up. You can kind of see how I have it marked off there, if you can see that. There we go. You can see it there. You just have it. I'm just kind of planning things out. So this is so this battery is going to come up to here. Now I have this space right here, in between here and here, where there's going to be no drawers. Right? So what I've thought of is, what I'm going to have to do is just rearrange this stuff. All my audio stuff is going to have to come up. Networking stuff's going to have to go down. So I'll have this down here, and actually it'll be here. So in this space right there, that's where it'll be. And then I'll have cable management, and then the other things like this should be okay, because 17. If I put this over here at like 17¼ inches, I got a good enough space that it's okay. It's not, that this thing, that, the switch here is not going to interrupt. The drawer can come back, and I can even get a right-angled connector here to save a little bit of space. I think that's not a bad idea. But what I'm finding out is that actually, even though this is 30 inches from one side to the other, and 28 inches from the rack on this side to the rack on the other side, that it's not it's just a little bit shallow for what's turning out to be the hardware that I need in here to keep everything kind of contained in one unit, which is what it is. So anyway, so what I'm planning on doing is having a 5U drawer here, to hold all the cables and the access point and any other kind of hardware that that goes with this. So like video game controllers, whatever, all those things can be stored in here, and then the back goes it gets slapped on and away to the next destination. So anyway, but I'll have to replace these because I want these things. I want all the hardware to be supported. I found an item that will work that's much smaller than this, but I don't need this big of a bracket to support these things. I think that having a smaller bracket, and when I pull all this hardware out of here, I'm going to actually put additional rails in this area so that I can actually directly attach those supports, maybe right about here, and that will be that'll be sufficient for me to support these front-mounted pieces of hardware while it's being transported. So anyway, but that's the kind of the state of the rack, so I've been kind of I have in the past streamed kind of me working on this thing, and it's making improvements and stuff, but what the computer's kind of lacking a critical component at the moment. And then the next kind of large thing, aside from getting a GPU, is kind of rearranging this thing, putting some extra rails in, and bolting everything down. So anyway, but that's the state of the rack. So some other things that are kind of coming up are going to be these things. So I got a couple of these short drawers or shelves here, And what I'm going to mount here is some of the power bricks and stuff like that that are in here. That's going to be part of the cable management. So this is going to help with that. I also have acquired this thing, and this is going to go in here too. So that's going to be, you know, for once I get the GPU from the for the computer going, I'll be able to capture it here and stream stuff from that computer, which I'm looking forward to greatly, since I've had a computer that's been down for over a year. So that'll be fun. So I'm making progress, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. Anyway, so that's an update on the rack, and looking forward to getting some new hardware in, and hopefully I'll be able to stream putting it in. Which, if you want to catch one of the streams, I'm M3DICINE, so it's medicine with a 3 over at Twitch. There's probably a link in the description somewhere if you guys want to come over and watch it. You know, some of the improvements to the rack, and so anyway, that's the state of the things, and catch you soon with updates as they come in.